Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you about something that I am extremely passionate about, and that is data science. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I will have to turn off my video just so that my computer can focus on doing what it's supposed to do. Great. Are you guys able to see my presentation okay, Anish?
It looks perfect.
Great. Okay. All right. So yeah, thanks again for having me. And today I'm going to talk about a few different topics in here. First of all, I'll provide a brief introduction of myself, and also I'll talk about a few different, I guess, in my opinion, what's the terminology's definition with respect to data science and specifically machine learning, as I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of it. And I will also go over some very interesting machine learning applications in our day-to-day life. And lastly, I'll talk about what I think would be the success factors and what are some of the key personality traits that would make a candidate successful in this field, and briefly talk over the future of data science, in my opinion. So let me get started. First of all, who am I? My name is Crystal, and thanks Anish, for his introduction. I'm a senior data scientist that's currently working at RBC. But before this, I was actually born and raised in China. At the age of 16, I came to Canada alone to attend a boarding school. It was actually already 14 years ago that I graduated from high school. And subsequently, I went to University of Waterloo and studied mathematics and finance. Since I graduated from university, I have been working with RBC, and it has already been 9 years now. Over the last 9 years, I have been with 3 different teams at RBC, and they're all very crucial to forming my career in data science. And I thought I would love to share with you on the journey. So in my first role, I actually started off in internal audit, specifically in IT internal audit. So for those of you that are not necessarily familiar with the career of an internal auditor, it's basically kind of like a policing role in making sure that all the systems are, for IT auditors, all the systems are configured safely and securely according to company policies. So I was in that role for 5-6 years after I graduated, and I mean, it was a role that made me happy, but I wasn't really very excited to come to work every day. And and given that I studied mathematics in my undergrad, I had always wanted to, apply mathematics in my day job. Like after going through 5 years of university learning about, for example, matrix algebra or calculus, I always wanted to see how they can be applied in life. And by being an internal auditor, that just doesn't really give me any opportunity of doing that. And so that got me puzzled. But, when I graduated, or in the subsequent years of after my graduation, there was really no opportunities for me to become, for example, a modeler or a data modeler, because for those kind of roles, it requires a lot of education background. For example, a lot of times you may even need to be in PhD to get into financial modeling. So the doors were there, but it wasn't really necessarily be open for me. And all of a sudden, in around 2017, 2018, data science just became so hot. Modeling became a field that was more accessible to a lot of the people with a somewhat relevant undergraduate degree. So that was the time when I thought I should really get serious about pursuing this passion. And that's when I went and attained my master's degree in analytics. And during the master's degree, that's when I learned how to, create informatics, communicate ideas to business users, and also create data models to solve problems using data. And more importantly, being able to explain and choose the best approach to model via the understanding of the underlying algorithms behind them. with that, it allowed me to, get into an analytics manager role at RBC. So that was my second role. And subsequently, after a year, in my third role, I became officially a data scientist in my current team. And I started to develop machine learning solutions that can be built into existing processes that are in the bank and improve them, obviously. So moral of the story is it's never too late to find your passion. Even if you don't end up doing it the first time around, if you don't stop pursuing, you will always be able to find something that is relevant in what you do. And being able to work in a field that you desire and you're passionate about is so satisfying. And and that's honestly my true feelings every day going to work. And I could feel the difference comparing to my earlier days in my career. But if you look closely, there's actually a hidden theme here in the slide that is related to data science, and more specifically, the application of machine learning. And that hidden theme is how image capturing has evolved over time. In the era of a physical photo, for example, the first one on the left, there's really no digital way to search through pictures in your history other than just flipping through your photo album. And it's quite difficult to share it with others. And in this particular case, my mom had to take a photo of the physical photo and send it around to our relatives. And in the second photo, which was taken at time of my graduation, and that happened to be in the beginning of the Facebook era, around 2007. By the way, do you guys even know what Facebook is? It's basically a social platform for one of the first social platforms for people to make friends and share photos. Anyway, so on Facebook, you not only are able to now upload photos, but you are also able to tag a face with the name of your friend who's also on Facebook. And with this, you're able to also add a bunch of other metadata, such as location of where the photo is taken, so that this photo can be shared around and also be kept in an effectively searchable manner. At one point, I had hoped that our Facebook would start to be automatically recognized and suggest people to be tagged based on previously tagged photos, but it was actually realized by iPhone later on through a much wider application through their people album. And that is what I'm showing on the third picture. So nowadays on iPhone, our albums are smart enough to automatically recognize people systematically through facial recognition system. And this actually has a machine learning engine behind it. So this application allows us to easily identify faces appearing in each photo and can even search for historical photo in a much faster manner without, flipping through your physical albums anymore. You can also provide feedback to retag the photo, and that would allow the machine learning engine at the back end of people album to train its algorithm and relearn to adapt from decisions that it had made by mistake in the past. So through this process, the machine learning algorithm is actually improving itself over time and be able to recognize people in a more accurate manner going forward. So that was one of the application of machine learning algorithms. And at this point, I think it's worthwhile to actually talk about the terminologies as to what data science and machine learning is, since I have bring it up for quite a few times already. So let's dive into it. So what is what? I'm sure you have heard a lot about data science, and you have also heard a lot about machine learning, but what's the difference and what's their similarity? In my opinion, I think data science is a broader concept in that it actually means the overall process of solving a business problem using data and algorithms. It actually encompasses a lot of different aspects. For example, algorithms that are in support of each development, the engineering aspect of how are you going to connect different pieces? For example, data extraction, data preparation, data modeling, and later on data prediction. And also throughout the process, the use of your business knowledge to be able to translate the business requirement into the development using data science. Lastly, it includes, but it's not limited to the few major components that I already mentioned, data extraction, preparation, but also sometimes people would also include model result visualization, so that the result and the analysis and the insights can be shared with people that don't really have a lot of development skills, but are more on the business end of consumer side. So that was for data science, but now coming to machine learning. Machine learning is actually the way to program a model to make decisions like we would manually do without explicitly programming the rules. So let's go back to the example that we talked about in facial recognition in our iPhone albums. So notice that the algorithm at the back end was actually not trained about how exactly to recognize each pixel. What it was using to learn is basically just a few different tags, correct and incorrect tags of people faces, so that it can learn implicitly over time as to what pixels made up each person. So machine learning is really just one specific method of creating a solution. And there are other methods, for example, descriptive statistics. And that is basically creating, for example, trend analysis on how the number of graduates that went into STEM over the years from a specific high school. That was an example. And it is usually, so machine learning is usually used when we want to estimate a decision-making process without explicitly learning about the rules behind it. So that was the definition between these two terms that people frequently talk about. And I would like to bring you to a few more different applications that I could think of. And so, so on iPhone, for example, we talked about the iPhone album using facial recognition. But did you also know that some of the other features that you're using is also having machine learning algorithms at the back end? For example, when you're typing, text prediction is basically based on probability of the most likely text that would appear after the words that you have typed. And that is primarily, that could be primarily based on context as to what you're trying to say. And depending where you are, the text prediction for the next word could look different. And another example could be Siri, which is using voice to text technology to translate our audio signals into text data. Another few examples that I could think of are related to Instagram, or also, I guess, related to TikToks. For example, in the discovery page, they are using a recommender system to recommend relevant posts. And this is behind, so what's behind this is also machine learning algorithm that is learning what are some of the posts that could be similar to the ones that you have liked, or even suggested follows. For example, they could be suggesting you who to follow next based on their understanding of your similarity of your other friends, similarity to your other friends, and then depending on who they follow, they may recommend their follows to you. And also the way how they order stories / posts / sponsor ads. These are all one way or another supported by machine learning algorithms that predict probability as to what are some of the posts and stories that are most relevant and interesting to you, so that I guess the overall objective is to increase your satisfaction in using the app, because over time you find that you are continuously able to see ads, sorry, not ads, but like posts and stories that you're most feeling relevant to. So with that, these are some of the machine learning applications that I can think of. So in the last 5 minutes of my presentation, I would like to talk about what I think are some of the prerequisites or traits with respect to personality and soft skills wise. What are some of these what does it take to succeed in this field? So if you're not already aware, a lot of the machine learning algorithms are actually require a good understanding of mathematics and statistics. So I think if you like to be on the more technical side, to be able to manipulate and use algorithm in a more sophisticated way, it is actually very important for you to learn the math and the statistics in a serious manner. Also, another type of skill set would be computer science skills. So this is somewhat related to the engineering skills that we talked about. So basically be able to write your code, not just be able to write code, but also be able to write effective, efficient, and sophisticated and smart code that it and the reason for that is, for example, when we process a lot of data, we want to write algorithms that are efficient so that the running time of such algorithms are not going to take an exponentially long amount of time. So and a good understanding of computer science algorithm would be really beneficial. And lastly is on business skills. So I think as you were working through your use cases, you realize that there's actually a lot of business knowledge or just knowledge in general that go into understanding each column of the text and understanding what is the objective of doing the analysis at all. So I think being able to translate objectives into good business knowledge and good business language is crucial in being able to deliver your project and explain your idea to the business audience. And next is personality traits. I think I picked out the 3 most important ones in my opinion. And the first one is willing to work hard. And I think this can apply to many different fields, but why I brought this up in the field of data science is because I feel like the field itself is so ever evolving. And there are new research papers coming out every month. There's new technology breakthroughs happening so very often. So it is very important for anyone that wants to succeed in the field to be able to keep up and be willing to always learn. The second one is being creative. And the reason why I brought this up was because, I mean, there are a lot of algorithms out there that are out of the box. But when you were working on your your projects, I'm sure you realize that a lot of things are not really suitable when they're out of the box, and you have to make a lot of modification and customization to fit it into your solution. So being creative is very important. And lastly, being ethical. Machine learning has a lot of controversy in the way how it's applied. And there's also a big component in ethical AI in that we want to make decisions for people in a fair manner. And that's why when you are a data scientist or when you want to pursue a field in data science, it is extremely important for you to be responsible for your customers and your users in creating unbiased and ethical products. With that, I can only say that the future of data science and just big data in general is very exciting because we are going to have more and more data. And for example, that's going to be coming from the more and more apps that we install on our phone. Internet of Things is going to connect more data together from different source apps, and our preferences will be analyzed in a more accurate manner so that we can be drawn to use the apps and have our needs fulfilled by them in a more relatable manner. And how are we going to get there? As high school students, I think it is important for you to consider maybe future undergrad programs that would allow you to have co-op streams so that you can obtain some relevant work experience while you are going through your undergrad degree. And also, don't be limited to your classroom lectures. There are so many free online resources to learn about whatever topics that you are interested in. Use YouTube, use Coursera, use Udemy, or even GitHub, and go to look at other people's code and learn from them. I think these are just like plenty of creative ways for you to enhance your skills and be able to pursue your dreams and work on something that you're passionate in the near future. With that, I think that concludes my presentation, and I'm very happy to be here to share to you with of my passion. And if you have any questions, you're actually very welcome to connect with me after this. I guess I will leave my email to Anish if that's appropriate, and you could share that with the students, whoever that's interested, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks everyone for listening to me, and yeah, thanks Anish for having me.